Hey everyone, Temporal here, and for this session we are reviewing a gold main tank player. I think we're mostly looking at Reinhardt and Winston. If you guys are enjoying the content, please do like and subscribe as that helps grow the channel, lets me keep doing this. Or if you are looking to get coaching yourself, you can join my Discord in the description below, and through there you can see what my rates are, become a member of the community, get access to promotions when they show up, all sorts of cool things.
Salute you.
5, 4, 3.
Okay. Well, let's not give people seizures.
Attackers incoming.
We're done. We're already done. We lost our soldier. We can just wait. Like, it's okay if we push the payload, but let's push the payload from behind it. We don't actually want to fight. Protect your shield. Push the payload from behind here. If they're not going to contest the front of it, you're not actually interested in a fight right now because you're down one. So step back here and push the payload. You know, when people say, hey, could you get out and push to the truck that's broken down? This is what they're talking about. Okay, not really, but this is where you want to be right now because you don't want this fight. Again, block more of your shield behind the cart. Don't just give away surface area like this. That poor soldier. Okay, that's fine. It's not great, but it's fine. But you're kind of done. You've pushed this card up as far forward as you're going to get it. You would like to get your 6 and take this fight, and that's totally fine because, hey, you'll have 6, they won't. You just need to be in a place where you can deny the res, and I'm really not too worried about the res. You don't need to be here. You're just making it easier for them to poke you down. He's hacked. Why are you taking this so slow? Why are you taking this so slow now? Now you're in a place where you did want to be going up and denying this space. You did want to be denying this res. You did want to go, I am taking this space that is now mine for free. The other Reinhardt is gone. He could. That temporal could use some, that soldier could use some temporal coaching services. It would teach him about where Doomfists roll out from, how to avoid them, how staying above them can make it really hard for them, how chipping them even a little bit before they do any sort of rollout makes their life really uncomfortable. There's all sorts of cool stuff that we could get into. Or the Doomfist could, though maybe he doesn't need them. It would be good to do a Doomfist. I'm waiting for someone to purchase some Doomfist coaching. Okay, where were we going here? Back to our drunk llama. You knocked her enough to stop the res. Even if you didn't get her, that's good. Okay, so that's a Doomfist, so please back up behind the cart so he can't hit you. Please. Please. He's probably not going after you, but why give him the chance? Oh, he was going after you. And you could have closed that angle. No. Let your team deal with him. There's still a Widowmaker. I know it's annoying. I know he got up in your grill and was like, I'm going to hit you. But, and does he even have like a hockey mask on, a tribal mask on, etc. But there's still a Widow and a Bap and a Zarya over here. Your job is to turn around and put that shield up while your team hard peels the Doomfist. Sometimes that's what you've got to do as Reinhardt. It sucks. It's annoying. There's a Doomfist in your backline shooting, bashing you, moving you around, etc. Nothing you can do. Got to let the team peel. There's a Tracer in your backline putting damage into you, etc. There's nothing you can do. You got to let your backline peel. You still have to deal with the threat in front here while your team peels it. All you can do is go, hey, I'm going to shield, and maybe I'm going to rotate over to here so that I don't have to shield. And then if the angles are totally closed, maybe I can think about throwing a fire strike or something. But hey. I'm shocked. I am shocked that as we turned around to deal with the Doomfist, the Widow eliminated someone on our team. Shocked, I say. I don't love this. You're done. You are so done. Just reset. Just totally reset. Go back, go all the way back to spawn, or at least go back to like here-ish and be like, okay, this is the space that we're going to try to sort of hold, etc. Make sure the cart doesn't roll back, etc. If you want to try to be like, hey, I'm going to push the cart a little more forward, again, do it from behind the cart. You are not in this fight. They have way more people than you. Even if you can't tell that, I know that their respawns are closer than yours. I know that. So we'll try. You've got your 3. They've got their 3. You'll have your Sombra, but then they'll have 2. This is not going to be good, man. Like, please go behind the cart. Take cleaner fights. No. Why are we fire striking when there's a Widow on the board? I appreciate you not pinning him out into the open where the Widow would have taken you down. Are we going to stagger for a bit while just inching the cart forward little by little? We are. And what to do while you're waiting to respawn? Yeah. Please go left. Please go left. Please go left! 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 This is a big open sight line, and you're not 100% sure where the Widow is. Or maybe you are. Hint, it's right here. This breaks up the sight line, is much easier for you to transition through. You get poked out less, etc., etc. You clear out the Doomfist while you're coming through here. And then the Widow goes, oh, shoot, and has to rotate away using her grapple, etc. That's preferable to you pushing your way up through this long sight line into this heavy poke, etc. No, please don't. Please go this way instead. And please go this way once you have 6. You aren't missing much, Ameni. I may have just picked up a bajillion haters, but you're not missing much. This is not how you play Reinhardt. Reinhardt is not a firing platform for his team. You don't go, let me dance left and right, let me go forward, let me dance left and right, let me go forward, let me dance left and right. You're not some stable firing platform for your team. Your shield is to get you 2 places. If your team wants to hop on the bus and go, yeah, we're along for the ride, that's totally fine. I recommend encouraging them in situations like this where you're playing against a Widowmaker to hop on the bus and go along for the ride. But the bus is not a tour bus that stops and goes, well, over here on the left we have a Widowmaker, and over here on the right you'll see this is the so-and-so map. And no, it's not a tour bus that takes stops and talks about things, etc. It's more of like, okay, well, we're going to go over here. Yep, we're going to go over here. Now we're going to go over here. Please shoot at that. Please shoot at that. Cool, now we're over here. Now we're going to rotate ourselves up to here. And great, we're through. That's what you're doing against these long sight lines. You want to break them up. So we don't just dance back and forth to let our team try to poke at their team better. That is not a thing that we're interested in doing, even remotely. Your shield is to get you on top of enemies like Widowmaker that you could then swing at. Or to force Widowmaker to use her grapple to go away, etc. Okay. Are you immediately going to shatter? Yeah, about what we expected. Not how we fire strike. I haven't covered fire strikes with you yet in this video, so fire strikes generally with Reinhardt are I start my fire strike animation, and then I peek as the fire strike comes out of his hammer, and I aim at the last moment. That's generally how we'd use fire strikes. In this comp, where you're playing against a Widow, you're just not going to use fire strikes. You're just not. You can use a fire strike to finish someone off. You know, you go swing, and you use the fire strike to cancel your last swing to get the damage on them faster than completing another swing. You can use fire strikes when Widow's no longer on the board. She's been eliminated. When you know she's retreating by uncover getting a health pack or something. But in this matchup, you're mostly just not going to use fire strikes. Okay, now we're going for the Winston. I like it. I like it. Your team's probably going to throw a fit and go, but we need a shield because Widow, but they're wrong. So I appreciate picking Winston here.
60 seconds.
It's all for naught if you go in when your team isn't ready. You are staging too aggressively before your team is ready. Your team is not ready, and this is not where you'd stage from. Are you going to jump over here for your staging? Is that how you're working your way forward? I'm okay if that's the plan. But your plan is to either go, hey, I'm going to get to here so I can go jump across from here. Or your plan is to get from here where you'll do like a 180 bounce, jump type thing. Like those are your two staging options. This isn't really a place you want to be unless you're transitioning through here, which you need to have done like 2 seconds ago. No. We can't just peek that big to look. We do baby little peeks to check on Widow because she can do, what, 300 damage to us? That's kind of scary. We don't like that, so we do baby little peeks to learn where she is and immediately close the angle. Because if we take other chip damage besides that 300 damage, we could actually go down. Whereas if we just take that chip damage to learn where she is, BAP can heal us back up. That's what we do. So smaller peeks than that, please. Yeah, that's why I was saying you had to sort of do the little hippity-hoppity to get closer to her before you could dive. But that's okay. That is not your target. That Mercy is not your target. Even if the Mercy is pocketing the Widow, the Mercy isn't really your target. Your priority is to tie up the Widow. What you actually want to do is you want to jump on the Widow, and you want to say, like, Widow tied, Widow tied, tied, Widow tied, Widow free, Widow free, Widow free, Widow tied, tied. You want to be communicating to your team on comms when they can effectively play more in the open without the risk of being deleted by a Widowmaker. You do not have to hard counter her as an I exist, so she's deleted from the game. You need to let your team know when they can safely open angles to take shots, etc., to do work. That is what you do to contribute to countering the Widow. It is. It's how you play Winston into Widow. What? Help your Reaper take out the Widow. You know where she is. You still had 400 health. Why are we leaving? You'd be in very little danger up top, and you'd have been jumping at the Widow from behind, very unlikely to take a 300 damage headshot on the way in. What is this? Okay, where'd we lose her to? You've concerned me. So she transitioned sides. Okay, well, you know, that's not terribly surprising when a Reaper teleported on her, but I just wish you knew where she was. Maybe someone's calmed it. Now you do know where she is, and you still have over 400 health and leap available. Huzzah! Huzzah! That's unfortunate. Keep your face away from her until you have leap back. Now turn and leap. Why? Why are we wasting bubble here? What does this bubble accomplish for us? We can just keep our face away from her, and it's hard for her to get headshots. So she's not up there. You've seen the bullet stream multiple times, and you've had the audio cues. Yeah! This would be so much easier if she was still at bubble. There's no... There you go. That was well done.
Payload's moving. Let's make sure someone stays with it. Always leave yourself back door.
Yeah, I'm with you, Hit. I can go for some baseball. I can go for some MMA. Not so much the football. Or soccer for the rest of the world, since we can't, you know, keep our sport straight with the rest of the world.
This will protect you. Damage output increased. How about a little extra?
So it's okay with me if you just sort of inch this forward for your team, but what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to jump up here for two reasons. A, it'll force the Widow to leave, which is fine. The Widow leaves somewhere. You can't follow her, so you just drop your bubble to protect you from getting shot in the butt by her, while you turn around and zap these guys down here, make them uncomfortable, set them up, keep them sort of low health for a couple seconds, setting them up for your team, your DPS, to get actual eliminations on them. That's what you're looking to do here as Winston. You didn't need to. I wanted you to drop the bubble, assuming the Widow got away. Okay. You could have preserved this bubble. This is great. This is great. This is exactly what Winston play looks like. Your job as the tank is to enable your team to set up potential eliminations. You don't need to eliminate this Mercy. You don't need to eliminate this Briggs. You don't need to eliminate this Zara. You need to keep a somewhat constant pressure on them, whether that's for 2 seconds, for 3 seconds, for 4 seconds, for 7 seconds, as long as you can without costing too much of your own resources to give your DPS a 2-second window, a 4-second window, a 7-second window, in which they could come in with their, we'll say, more reliable damage. Well, you're with their extra damage and actually turn those into eliminations. That is what you're doing. That is how you enable your team as a tank. Mm-hmm. Why did you leave? Why was there any need to leave? That team was EMP'd and helpless, and why are you over here? And now Hog has sent them away from where you leapt to, as opposed to you just being able to swap sides on the bridge and zap them as they got knocked out here. Like, this was easy pickings. You could have had so many finishes. Is there cues where to take positioning in enclosed spaces like these as Winston? High ground. High ground is generally your friend. So up here where you can zap the people on low ground would have been pretty great. Other places to go is, hey, you can do corner stuff. You can work your way back here once they're back in, etc. You can go here. Like, it depends. In terms of your cues, though, you're Winston, you're a vertical tank, so think, hey, is the high ground good? Type stuff. Or if they're all on high ground here, you might go, I'm going to go me a sneak in, a sneak in, a sneak in. Oop, too far. Come out here, and maybe I'm going to jump on them from behind, see if I can zap them, see if I can scare any of them to drop, and then I'll just drop out, go out here, get my mega, do the same thing, etc. Like, those are how you're thinking. Reinhardt can't hit you. Zarya has a tougher time with you if you're up on the high ground. Just saying. Plus, you could have tried to scare off that echo. No, you're done. No, why? What? Why? Okay. Okay. That was just a disruption primal. This is about the length of time that you can expect to get away with those. By length of time, I mean you can't get much higher on the ladder expecting to get away with, I'm just going to sort of cause chaos primals. You can do it a bit more, but you are going to look to go, hey, I'm looking to do specific things with my primal. I'm going to bring a specific enemy to my team. Maybe that's Reinhardt that I'm going to bring to my team for my team to take apart. Maybe that's, hey, I'm going to knock away their Reinhardt so that my team can fight their soft, squishy core without the Reinhardt. Or maybe I'm going to tunnel a support or a 200 HP hero and try to eliminate them with Primal, etc. Like, I'm going to stay on them for the majority of my Primal to try and get the elimination. We can talk about how to do that, but I'm going to want to see another Primal before we do, because it's a long speech that is in other Winston VODs. It's not great, but if you're up here, the rest of her team can't see you. You can zap her. She can't bash you. Whip shot just sends you right back into this, which does nothing. All sorts of cool reasons to be up here.
Barrier activated.
What is this doing for you? What is the purpose of this bubble? If you're up here, you scare off the Widow. That's a big deal. You don't have your bubble, which makes it a little harder because she can grapple over here, and then you have to go, oh shoot, and drop. But you go here, you scare off the Widow. If she doesn't go back there, you get to turn and zap the Rhine, and the Rhine literally can't hit you. These are where we're looking to play, the high ground. If they'll play low ground for you, please abuse them for it. Good, good. That was a lot of ammo you wasted into the bubble. You cannot break a Zarya bubble as Winston without help, so don't bother. It makes their Zarya have more energy, and it wastes your ammo, and your ammo is sort of important.
This will protect.
60 seconds.
We don't really use bubbles to protect our team very often as Winston. We use them to enable our dives to let us hold scary positions. The cart is not a scary position. Yeah. Your bubble's much more useful to let you go, hey, I jump on a widow, she grapples away. If I can't immediately get cover, I might need to bubble so that I can wait for the differential between our two cooldowns, because my leap is a shorter cooldown than her grapple, so that I can leap again to her, when I get my leap back, etc. Like, that's not a perfect use of bubble, but it's a better use of bubble than what you've been doing with your bubbles.
Re-engaging.
Primal is, I think, the most fun ult in the game to use. Once you have Primal control, it's just like, yep, thank you. Now that's less fun, if you try to do it into Zenyatta, Reaper, Mei, but other than that. Wait for it. This isn't your window. Now it's your window, unfortunately, because we used Falc. Okay. Don't drop. Why would you drop? You still have 3 seconds left. Go here. Just zap them from here. Zippity zappity, zippity zappity, zap, 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 zap. They'll turn and look at you, and then your Genji will be like, oh, free pot shots. And he'll take out the Moira for you, and it'll be great. And then you can still drop, if you have to. Anytime before overtime starts, you can touch this. So, 3 seconds. You still have 3 seconds. Your Genji, you'll probably end up touching it. You might qualify as touching it from up here, though probably not with how they've made objectives smaller. But you just drop like you're doing 2 seconds from now. It's fine. Please do that.
This will protect us.
It's a lot of wasted ammo. Just so we're clear. $40 ammo. How did your ammo go up from 40 to 42? Whatever. You can't reach him yet. You're not hurting him. Still not hurting him. Now you're hurting him. Armor. Tesla armor. Not great. Okay. More waste. There we go. I started speeding up right as we wasted more. Yeah, you wasted 30, 35 ammo there. That's a lot. That's almost a third of your clip. You wasted more there. Like, that's expensive. The reason that Winston's melee weave is because if your 200 HP target is getting any meaningful amount of healing, your clip isn't enough to take them down. Even if they're getting less healing than you do damage-wise, it becomes a problem, and then you have to deal with your second and a half reload, and that's a pain. So that's why Winston's melee weave. Melee weaving is something that more advanced Winstons do to preserve their clip, to stay in it more, because it is not a DPS loss. In fact, it's a DPS gain against armor, etc. But, the first step is don't shoot when there's nothing your Tesla can arc on to. That's the first step, and that's the easier step. Nice! Congratulations, Jumbo. Okay, you have to anchor with this Primal. That does not mean you can't do baby leaps for damage. The back of the cart to the front of the cart is still a baby leap for damage, and you'll still contest it the whole time. No leaps used. Leaps are extra damage. You want to hit leaps. What you actually want to do is you want to do hey, let's get a different screen here. On console it does. There were times in certain regions when it did. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're looking to go, hey, I leap from here onto the Moira. I land on the Moira, so the Moira starts to get knocked up and away, and as she's starting to get knocked up and away, I know which direction she's going to go because it's relative to where I landed, and then I hit her with my left click to knock her further away, etc. So I get the landing damage, which is up to 50 damage, I believe, and I get the hit, which is another 40 damage. So hey, I get 90 damage off of that. That's a lot better than I just get the hit, because the hit has an internal cooldown to it, just like the leap has a cooldown to it. So you're looking to try to get both. And even if you're only getting part of the landing damage, you want to get it. And I promise you can do a leap to the Moira, land as she starts to get bumped, then hit her away, and then take a step back in your contesting card. And this wick is not going to burn out. You could also do it to the Reinhardt if you were really worried about it and it would be better than what you did. You need to change regions.
Initiating match. Round 1.
There we go.
Well, it's high noon somewhere.
Still on Winston. Works for me.
Ready for battle. 5, 4, 3,
Okay.
2, 1.
I don't love this. It's acceptable. It's something that you can get away with in gold. You can abuse people, etc. I just don't love it. Yeah. She's going to farm you. You're going to probably get out, but she's going to farm you. What? 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 That was your retreat plan? Things we could have done better. We can just listen to the footsteps to tell who's gone by, etc. We don't want to be looking here right as they come out, because if they can see us, we can see them. We wanted them to get like here-ish before we peeked, their main party to get there, because then when we peek, we can A, see who they are, and B, you see how when you're back here, your field of vision makes it easier to see to the left, and it's sort of a smaller turn, and if they check, they can see you, etc. But if they're up here, it's a much larger turn to see what's over there, etc. We wanted to do that. We wanted to be behind this wall, and then we wanted to crouch step forward when we thought they were about up to here. We didn't want to be out here right as the doors opened, etc. That they were too likely to check if they were competent at all. Then when the tracer showed up, the tracer should have shown up while we were here, not while we were like here, and we can go, oh shoot, we immediately turn our butt towards him, just cut away our head hitbox, we go this way, and as soon as we're through this doorway, we leap to get to here, and then we get out and we've got team support, etc. That was the proper pathing there, and he still would have gotten very meaningful damage on you, but your pathing, you shouldn't have got out alive.
I need to recharge.
You do not need to peek this frequently. You need to peek every once in a while to know, hey, if I need to dive, where are targets, etc., as sort of part of your scouting leading to your staging, etc. There's not really any chance you're going to leap on them. You're going to go deep for a leap right now, though. Like, you kind of would like to know where their widow is. You do not need to do these repeated peeks like you are. Oh, this is a feed. This is such a feed. If we were going to do anything, we were going to work our way back up over here, and then we were going to pick between going back out here, or just as they were pushing forward, you know, we're sort of crouched hidden behind this, and just creeping out on them and being like, haha, surprise, Widowmaker, I'm right here, once her entire team had passed. That's what we were thinking. We were not going to jump over her team to get to her. We need to sneak up on her so that we show up and basically she's in a situation if she doesn't have team help, and hopefully we didn't have to use leap to get to her because she transitioned up to here. If we did have to use leap to get to her, so be it. We then cut the angle on her team if she angles away so that her team can't shoot at us. Okay. Yes, the stealthy 600-pound gorilla is a real thing, though. At least in Overwatch. Bananas are great. Winston's just wrong.
I understand. Understood.
Bananas were my wrestling food, you know.
This
There's like no weight gain with them. It's fruit. Hey, all good.
Excuse me for dropping him. Sniper, be careful.
This is just wrong. You're in too early. You weren't stealthy about getting in. They see you're here. You can't get out with a single leap. There's nowhere you can go. You're gonna, what, pick between fighting a Winston that you're going to lose to or jumping on the Widow, hoping you can get an elimination on her, but you can't because you'll be going into because the Winston will follow leap onto you, and so it'll quickly become a 1v3. Like, you just shouldn't be here. I know. Well, Peanut Butter's good too. Can't hate him for that too much.
my will.
TV for special attack.
Fine. The fight's going on. I'll live with it.
It's one small step.
Is she still scoped? Are you in danger? Do you think you're in danger? You're not in danger. You see how her scope went down? She was leaving that, etc. You don't need your bubble. All she can do is SMG you. Your bubble is not to protect you from generic SMG damage. Are you afraid that someone is going to turn around and hook you or something? That ability doesn't exist on this team. What's this for? What is this bubble for? Your bubble protects you from specific intended targets and specific abilities. You can consider scoped damage from Widow a specific ability because it's meaningful. You change it from, 300 damage to your head to, hey, it's just a little bit of damage on my bubble. And that's fine. That is a totally fine thing to block with your bubble. But this, you're just blocking SMG shots. You have plenty of health to beat her. If she grapples away, you could pop your bubble, but you'd like to be able to pursue her in case she walks away until she uses that grapple. Yeah. Now you don't have your bubble. There's no reason you needed to spend your bubble. And you're forcing primal. Fine. But even if you were going to just use your own primal here, I'd have rather you dropped your bubble and then used your primal here. At least your bubble would do a little more good here, be a little more disruptive to the enemy team. Did we just... Yeah, okay, fine. What's this bubble for, man? For a tracer that's reloading? Are you worried that the tracer's going to pulse bomb you? And you're about to edge dance on your bubble to make it so that she has a hard time getting a pulse bomb? I'd give that like a 3 out of 10 on a bubble use right now, but I don't even think that's what you're doing.
This will protect us.
No, this is not stealthy. Stealthy 600-pound gorilla. We go through here, we creepy, and we just wait here, and we let the team walk right by, and then we creep walk. Ha-ha, Widow, I found you! And she goes, what the? Why is there a Widow here? Or why is there a Winston here? That's what we do. We can't just leap in like this. Yes, that was a feat. I'm glad you were punished for that. Yeah, his healers weren't able to bail him out that time, but I'm with you, Tsunami.
Through the miracle of science.
Go away, slow-mo.
Surrender to my will.
You guys just making this messy, nothing resembling resets on either side. But the fight's staying close enough, I'll live. Good. Why would you go out this way? As opposed to this way where there's a free Zen. Whatever, I'll live. Hopefully you're leaving. No, you're not leaving, you're looking at them. If you wanted to go deeper, you wanted this target. If you wanted to go this way, it's because you wanted to leave so that you could then circle back up here to get access to these targets. There was no situation in which this was the right approach. Yep. Who do you think you're blocking? The Mercy? the Winston? The Zen didn't have an angle yet. What is this for? Are you going, no, this is fine, I'm blocking the application of Discord? Like, I'm not that worried about you getting a Discord. Nothing's going to burst you down. You'll just drag the Discord and clear it. And that lets your DPS be more free to go walk forward and fan the Winston, etc. You peeked before your reload was over. You are wasting a lot of Tesla. A lot of Tesla being wasted. That was, again, almost 30 Tesla wasted. Oh, it hurts. It hurts. Look at that juicy Zen that you could finish off. If you landed on that Zen and mealeed, it would go down. You might need a tiny, tiny little bit of Tesla damage, but it would go down. You can't do that anymore because you don't have a bubble.
Barrier
Do you know where the Widow is? Do you? Do you? Oh, you had an Orisa barrier to stage with, but you're still going to jump on the Widow from here, right? Right? Please? Yay! That's fine. That's fine. You don't need to stay on her. You can stay on her, but this is going to be a little rough. I can actually live with this bubble. Immediately turn. Don't follow her out of the bubble. Your job is to deny her so that your team can do work and tell your team when she's being not denied. Widow tied, Widow tied, etc. And you here, while she's looking at you and there's sort of a bubble between you and your team, is still her being tied. So your team can push back this Tracer, can rotate up here and take their Zen out in the back, etc. Can do things like that. And then the instant your leap is back, you go, whoo, I'm out, and you hope to get out. That's how you should have taken this. Nope, you're feeding. The job is to tie up the Widow as long as you can without giving up your own life, or to tie up the Widow for a very long time, like 7 or 8 seconds, and unfortunately give up your life in the process, but your team has traded favorably in the other time because the Widow is just too dominant and it's something that had to be done. Your team isn't doing squat while you're feeding over here. You have to be communicating that the Widow is tied up. Yes, blah. Yes, they would. On the other hand, Jumbo's about to comment about, no. Please stop clearing Discords, our resident Zen main. Okay. It really would be very helpful to your team if you went after that Widow rather than the Reinhardt. Your team can afford to anchor the card here. They can't deal with the Widow. Like, your McCree and Moira can do shenanigans to play Ring Around the Rosie on the cart with the Reinhardt while you go deal with the Widow. They cannot deal with the Widow themselves. Please deal with the Widow. You do not have to anchor cart just because you're the tank. Oh, look, you lost your McCree to the Widow who should have been tied up. Oh, look, you lost your Moira to the Widow who should have been tied up.
10 seconds remaining. The payload has reached the checkpoint.
Burn. Burn. Am I in slow-mo? Because I am sped up here. Clearly I am in slow-mo. Please don't be in slow-mo, game. Well, I mean, he's sometimes going to lose his life when he's tying up the Widow, and I can live with that, but it would have been for a purpose at least, and he would have forced the Widow to low ground, whereas McCree could have then handled it, etc. But hey. This bubble timing is wrong. This Widow is not going to stand here and scope shot you while you're zapping her. She's not going to do it. If she does, yes, you can drop the bubble, etc. If you see, hey, she's holding her scope, she's not letting it go, yes. I'd recommend a crouch instead to try to, lose her real quick, but please don't just drop your bubbles like this.
Barrier up.
Now you could drop your bubble. Now you could drop your bubble, though actually you'd wait until she tries to turn around because she's not a threat to you yet. You'd walk over here and go, hey, I'm going to zap down, and as soon as you turn around, I'm going to drop my bubble, and as soon as my leap is back, I'm going to jump on you, and now you're eliminated. That's how this works. Yeah, your bubble's not in a very good place because you used it too early. You know where she went. You did not have to primal. You 100% did not have to primal. You have your regular leap available. You have your regular leap available. You have your regular leap available, and you primal. If you really want to, you regular leap, then you primal to get your leap cooldown back, and you leap again, and you finish this Widow.
Here to have lost control.
What's this bubble for? Is it blocking micro missiles? Is it blocking focusing beam? Is it protecting the lamp? Is that the thought? Kind of. Kind of. I don't think you need it. Maybe it's protecting the lamp from Diva, in which case I'll give it a pass. But, barely. Please be on high ground. There's absolutely no reason you can't just go up here, zap away this Echo to be like, hey, bye, Echo, and then transition over here, or if the Echo leaves, transition over here, and just zap stuff. And if people look at you, you can close the angle, or you can drop, or if someone runs away with low health, like the Mercy, you can leap on them. It's pretty great. High ground is wonderful for Winston. You be up here, you zap 2 people at once, you make them nice and low so that any DPS can go in and finish them. It's beautiful. This is not how we use bubble. She made your bubble a tiny bit better there by pulling out micro missiles. There was no melee there. It was not animation canceled. It's almost invisible if you animation cancel it. I'm almost positive it wasn't there. Fine, and you even have bubble this time. You could have bubbled for that, but I'm okay that you didn't. Go get the mini. No, now it's too late to bubble. Oh, it hurts. It hurts. No, you can't push back out. This bubble's already half gone. Go get the mini, and then leave. Okay, no mini, because she got it on her way out. That's fine. Go get the other mini. Over here. And then, you'll have got this mini. They'll probably forget about you and start to go this way. And once they're halfway past, you walk back out and go, and I'm going to zap you guys again to put some pressure, to set it up for Michael McCree, who's on the wide angle, to hit a nice body shot to finish someone off who I've already weakened. This is good too. This is very good, in fact. Team walks here or here. Either way, they go here, ready to fight your team. And, you know, they have to fight your team, blah, 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 blah. And you are at a very steep angle to them, and you are protected until they are in the place where the rest of your team can shoot at them. This is beautiful high ground. Right here. You just have to be aware of, hey, is there a Widow coming through here? Or a Diva coming through here? That's a lot of wasted Tesla again. That is not a good bubble.
60 seconds remaining.
Uh-huh. Why did you use leap there? Okay. At least you leaped before primaling this time. I'm not quite sure why you're so attached to Reinhardt during primals, but okay. At least you're keeping him out of the fight. That's fine. And maybe you think he has Shatter. He's kind of close.
Surrender to my will.
Go up. Go up. Echo will be very unhappy if you zap her from here. She will be very unhappy, I promise.
30 seconds.
Lucia will be unhappy too. Reinhardt will be, just a little annoyed. But those two will be unhappy.
Adaptive circuits engaged.
If you're up here, she has to pick between zapping you or zapping the three of them. Don't let her try to zap, you plus two others plus you, etc. Go up here where she has to be like, oh, well, shoot, I have to pick who I'm going to zap. You'll take less damage. Hopefully your team will also take less damage because they'll spread out a little better. But hey.
Winston.
You don't have bubble because you used it. Did that qualify? Nice, nice. So you used it right to block it. I might have not given you credit there. I was looking at the cooldown when I heard it, but you may have already heard it.
This will protect us.
No, he just messed that up. Okay. Or maybe he didn't. You might have gone card. No. Weird. Okay. This high ground would be so beautiful. So beautiful.
Through the miracle of science. My ultimate is charging.
I'm allergic to bad bubbles, I suppose. Okay. You're good. It's taking down. Why are you dropping? Why are you dropping? You have made yourself more vulnerable to this Doomfist. And your Reaper wasn't in any danger because he has Wraith. You being up here, there is very, very little that Doomfist can do to you. You down here, Doomfist can make you very unhappy. And look at how annoying it is having to go in circles around this cart as opposed to just going, I zap you over here. 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 It's so much more fun. Why are you on the Reinhardt? The Reinhardt is the worst target for you to be on. Too many of them are up. You are not going to primal them all off the point.
To have lost
Mercy, not Reinhardt. Your Tesla has a lot of damage reduction against armor. Not as much as it used to, but still a lot. Mercy. Turn to the Mercy.
This will protect us.
You can't get shattered if you're on high ground and he's on low ground. Oh, really? It's a loss after that? The patron saint of high ground could have saved you, I swear. So many times. So many times. Let's try and get a better angle. Okay.
Hello there. My ultimate is charging.
This was incredibly winnable. Let me just get a screen that I'm okay with. Okay. So, please understand, high ground is amazing. It does so many wonderful things. It makes it so that you are so much safer. It gives you good angles to zap on like 3 or 4 people at once. It keeps you safer from Reinhardts that can't swing into you. It keeps you safer from Doomfists who do not have very good entry options on you when you're above the elevation that they're at. It, keeps you in places where, hey, you can just drop behind enemies. It gives you cover whenever you want it, rather than having to use your bubble. It puts you in places that the opposing Widowmaker might like to be in, but she can't because you're already there, etc. Like high ground just does so many wonderful and beautiful things, and if you ever don't like it, you can just drop. So please default to high ground, but also don't drop from high ground nearly as often as you do. Uh, Please, it's really good. You would have had so many opportunities where you could have been zapping 2, 3 people at once from up on the high ground, and you'd have had almost zero attention paid to you. And if they did turn and pay attention to you up here, that's great because then they don't see your Reaper that walks up and, pops them in the neck, etc. Like it's what you want to do. I promise. I promise. Okay. Your other thing, it should be bubbles. It really should be bubbles. It really should be bubbles. It really should be how you use bubbles to block abilities, not generic damage, how you don't just put bubbles down, etc., etc. But instead, it has to be dealing with Widowmakers because Widowmaker was so present in this game. So, to deal with Widowmakers, you have to be sneaky. You can't just leap at Widowmakers. They're going to win. Their team is going to peel from them. You're going to get blown up. You have to go sneakity, 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 and go get them. You have to go, hey, let me fight my way through here so that I can get closer to you, so that I can leap on you, and then you tether away, and I just go, nope, that's cool. I'm going to break line of sight until my leap is back, and then I'm going to butt jump at you, and then flip again to land, or as I'm about to land, and get on you because my leap comes back faster than your tether. You have to be sneaky when dealing with Widowmakers. We do not get to go, I jump over you like this. We instead go, hey, your team is pushing cart. I'm going to, literally just knowing that there's a Widowmaker, I'm going to chill up here, or I am going to crouch walk through here and wait. And once your team is actually passed, I'm going to crouch walk to here, and you're scoped, so you won't see me as I crouch walk to here. And I got pretty close to you, and I can just open on you. And you tether, and I leap, and you're done. That is how we fight Widowmakers as Winston. Or, if we have to fight Widowmakers a little more in the open, we go, hey, my team's around the corner. I jump on the Widowmaker like this past her team, etc. I have to do it. And I call when the Widow is Widow tied, tied, and she gets away, and I go free, because she's free for a couple seconds, and I can't get on her reasonably, etc., etc. And then I jump again and go Widow tied. And during all that tied time, my McCree knows that he can peek sightlines. My Orisa knows that it's not the end of the world. If her shield breaks, she doesn't necessarily have to pop Fortify, etc. Like, it's a big deal. That is how you fight Widowmakers. Okay. If anyone has questions, throw them up in the chat now. If you guys are enjoying the content, please do like and subscribe. It really does help me out. It's pretty awesome, in fact. Or if you are looking to get coaching yourself, you can join my Discord in the description below. And through there, you're going to see what my rates look like. You can see if we've got any promos going on, any sort of future activities that we have planned that our community is involved in. Plus, we're getting some pretty cool memes in there. And, pretty cool memes. Like, hey, that's really all the hook I need for you guys, isn't it? And I don't have to do any work because you guys bring the memes. It's great. Okay, what do we have? You'd be pissed if you're on that team. Yep. Heat of the moment. Yeah, everyone makes mistakes. It happens. He wasn't feeding all game, but he was making a lot of mistakes that we can fix. But this is a gold game. I promise everyone was making a lot of mistakes that we can fix. It was just more obvious that Winston was making some mistakes because their Widow didn't totally take over the game, but had some real impact in the game. And it's really obvious when someone has real impact in the game and your answer isn't doing great. But to be fair, Red Team brought out its own Widowmaker and did not have very much impact. So that's not all on Winston, that the other Widow was too effective. Yes, it's a lot on Winston, but it's not all on Winston, because honestly, the Widow is a better check for another Widow on the first point, for example, than the Winston is. The Winston helps very heavily tilt the Widow battle in his Widow's favor, if you both have Widows, but if you have the Widow, that is bigger for the Widow battle than, the Winston is himself, etc. Okay. Temp seems pretty torn. What do I seem torn on? I've never had someone realize and change that. It's usually the healers that yell at the tanks to stop feeding. DPS asks slightly more politically by saying we could use a shield. Oh, we're talking about the shield stuff, the normal shield politics of they just won't play the game without a shield in gold and below. And they just start soft throwing. That becomes harder throwing, regardless of how well the tank is playing. I've coached so many balls and Winstons where their teams are just like throwing because they're not playing Reinhardt. It is such a pain. Yeah, no, you don't want them. Like, you are playing 5v6 if you have a shield bot Reinhardt. Like, a shield bot Reinhardt is hurting your team, and yet not making your teammates throw has some value. Yeah. But the real solution is just the real solution to getting out of gold as a tank right now is you pick Hammond or Zarya and you just carry with those heroes. If you're stuck in gold or below as a tank, but doesn't matter. That's fine. And I don't strictly say that because you guys know where I stand on it, where I do the, hey, if you want to get better at a hero, play that hero, you fall however far you fall with that hero, and then you work your way back up as that hero. And you can do that even with these Winstons, etc., when your teams tilt on people in gold, like, I'm aware that they do, etc. Make some pushes easier. It can help with rotations, but it's not like any team below mid diamond does any good at rotations anyways. Is there anywhere you'd consider a good source around the mechanics of melee weaving? Melee weaving isn't that complicated. When it comes to melee weaving, you go up to a target like this baby diva, you zap it, and you try to walk closer to it, and anytime you're close enough to it for a melee to count, and you're fairly confident, like 80% confident that the melee is going to count and do damage, you do the melee, and then melee puts a half-second cooldown and does 30 damage, and you can't do a second one, so you can do one melee per second. It takes half a second and it does 30 damage. Well, Tesla Cannon against normal health, not armor, does 60 damage per second. So you see, you are saving ammo but doing the same amount of damage. So that would be how you'd melee weave. And you don't melee if you aren't fairly certain that you're going to get damage credit for the melee. You are even more likely to melee if you're going into armor, because armor will reduce a single big hit, your melee, less than it reduces your Tesla Cannon. And you're just trying to get those melees in there to preserve the size of your clip so that you can stay on a target that's getting a little bit of mercy healing or has a harmony orb on it, etc., for longer. That's what you're looking to do. Okay. Yeah, you were thinking how to juggle on Winston. Yesterday or the day before, I went into, it was a Route 66 game where he was on Winston. No, not Route 66. It was a Hollywood game on Winston, and I went pretty detailed into primal mechanics. Okay. And I did a little bit here, but I went into much more detail in the day or two ago's Route 66 game. Okay, looks like that's what we've got. Hope you guys have enjoyed. Again, do make sure to like and subscribe. And I think that's going to be it for streaming today. I'll probably put up another session, but I am back to other work that I've got to do, at least for another day or so here. Thanks, guys. Temporal out. Oh, hi and bye, Cyrus Happy.